Could this 19-year-old French star be the missing piece in Manchester United's midfield puzzle? Picture this. You're watching Manchester United struggle to control the midfield once again. The same old problems keep showing up. Not enough creativity. Not enough energy. Not enough quality when the pressure is on. Sound familiar? Well, what if I told you there's a teenager in Paris who could change all of that? A player so good that Zaire-Emery says he has no limits. A 19-year-old who's already won major trophies and plays for France. His name is Zaire-Emery, and Manchester United are reportedly very interested in bringing him to Old Trafford. But here's the big question. Is he worth the massive £85 million price tag? And more importantly, could he really solve United's midfield problems? Let's dive deep into this potential transfer and find out everything you need to know about Zaire-Emery. Who exactly is Zaire-Emery? Before we get into the transfer talk, let's understand who this young player really is. Zaire-Emery isn't just another promising teenager. He's already achieved more at 19 than most players do in their entire careers. Born in 2006, Zaire-Emery came through PSG's academy system. Think about that for a moment. PSG have one of the best youth setups in world football, and he stood out among all those talented kids. That tells you something about his quality right away. He made his professional debut for PSG when he was just 16 years old. At 17, he was already playing in the Champions League against top teams like Newcastle United. Most teenagers his age are still figuring out their A-levels. But Zaire-Emery was going toe-to-toe with Premier League players and holding his own. What makes him special? Well, according to those who watch him regularly, he has the perfect mix of technical ability and physical presence. He can pass the ball with precision, tackle when needed, and read the game like players much older than him. Plus, he's already 6 feet tall and still growing, which gives him an advantage in the physical battles that define modern midfield play. What did Zaire-Emery see in him? Remember when Zaire-Emery was working as a pundit and later as France under-21 manager? He had some very interesting things to say about Zaire-Emery after watching him play against Newcastle in 2023. Henry was blown away by what he saw. Here's what the Arsenal legend said. The way Zaire-Emery is playing, it is normal to run the show at just 17 years old. He was the only one that held his ground at St. James Park. But Henry didn't stop there. He went on to explain what made Zaire-Emery different from other young players. Usually, you have youngsters that play as forwards that make the difference. But when you play in midfield for a team like PSG, you need to readjust. It is rare to see such a young player in that position. The most telling part? Henry made him captain of the France under-21 team. Not just a regular player, but the captain. Henry wanted to test whether Zaire-Emery could lead other players, not just play well himself. And according to Henry, he passed that test with flying colors. I gave him the armband to know if he could direct the team and talk. That was my way of seeing if he could do that, and trust me, he can. This guy has no limits. When a player like Zaire-Emery says someone has no limits, you should probably pay attention. Why does Manchester United want him? So why are Manchester United interested in a 19-year-old midfielder when they already have players like Bruno Fernandes, Kobbie Mainoo, and Manuel Ugarte? The answer lies in what United have been missing in recent seasons. Let's be honest about it. United's midfield has often looked lightweight against top opposition. They've struggled to control games when it matters most. They've lacked the kind of player who can do a bit of everything: defend, attack, create, and lead. Zaire-Emery could be that player. He's shown he can handle the pressure of big games. He's physically strong enough to compete in the Premier League. He's technically gifted enough to create chances. And he's mentally mature enough to handle the responsibility that comes with playing for Manchester United. Under Ruben Amorim's system, United typically play a 3-4-2-1 formation. This means they need midfielders who can do multiple jobs. They need players who can defend when required but also get forward to support attacks. Zaire-Emery fits this profile perfectly. Think about it this way. Bruno Fernandes is 30 years old. He's been brilliant for United, but he won't play forever. Kobbie Mainoo is promising but still very young and learning. Manuel Ugarte is more of a defensive midfielder. United needs someone who can play different roles and grow into a key player for the next decade. That's where Zaire-Emery comes in. He could provide immediate competition for places while also being a long-term investment in United's future. What are his strengths? Let's break down what makes Zaire-Emery such an attractive prospect for Manchester United. First, his passing ability is exceptional for someone his age. He can play short, quick passes to keep possession, but he can also pick out longer passes to switch the play or find attackers in dangerous positions. This kind of range is exactly what United need in their midfield. Second, he's not afraid of the physical side of the game. The Premier League is known for being tough and competitive, but Zaire-Emery has already shown he can handle physical battles against grown men. At 6 feet tall and still growing, he has the frame to compete with anyone. Third, his game intelligence is remarkable. He seems to always be in the right place at the right time. Whether it's making a crucial tackle, being available for a pass, or getting into the box for a scoring chance, he reads the game brilliantly. Fourth, he's already proven he can perform in big matches. Playing in the Champions League for PSG against teams like Manchester City, Bayern Munich, and Real Madrid isn't easy, but he's done it and looked comfortable doing it. Finally, his leadership qualities are already evident. You don't get made captain of France under-21s at 19 unless you have something special about your character and communication skills. What about the money? Here's where things get complicated. PSG are reportedly asking for around £85 million for Zaire-Emery. That's a lot of money for any player, let alone a 19-year-old who isn't even a guaranteed starter at his current club. Is he worth that much? Well, that depends on how you look at it. On one hand, £85 million is a huge sum. United could probably sign 2 or 3 good players for that amount. They have other positions that need strengthening too, so spending that much on one player might not be the smartest move. On the other hand, if Zaire-Emery develops as expected, he could be United's key midfielder for the next 10 to 15 years. When you think about it that way, £85 million spread over a decade and a half might actually be good value. There's also the modern transfer market to consider. Players like Declan Rice went for over £100 million. Jude Bellingham cost Real Madrid around £103 million. In today's market, top young midfielders don't come cheap. The question United's decision-makers need to ask themselves is this: do they believe Zaire-Emery can become one of the world's best midfielders? If the answer is yes, then £85 million might be worth it. What are the challenges? Of course, signing Zaire-Emery won't be straightforward. There are several challenges United would need to overcome. The first challenge is convincing PSG to sell. While they might be willing to let him go for the right price, they know how good he is and won't want to lose him cheaply. PSG are also a wealthy club, so they don't need to sell for financial reasons. The second challenge is convincing the player himself. Zaire-Emery is at PSG, a club that just won the Champions League. United, on the other hand, didn't even qualify for the Champions League this season. Why would he want to leave a winning team for one that's still trying to get back to the top? United would need to convince him that he could play a bigger role at Old Trafford than he currently does in Paris. They'd need to show him a clear path to becoming a key player and help him understand how he fits into their long-term plans. The third challenge is the competition from other clubs. If Zaire-Emery becomes available, United won't be the only club interested. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester City, and other top clubs will probably want him too. United would need to move quickly and make a compelling offer. How would he fit into United's team? If United did manage to sign Zaire-Emery, how would he fit into their current setup? Under Ruben Amorim's preferred 3-4-2-1 system, Zaire-Emery could play in several positions. He could be one of the 2 central midfielders, where he'd have the freedom to get forward and create chances while also helping out defensively. He could also play as one of the 2 attacking midfielders behind the striker, using his creativity and technical ability to unlock defenses and create scoring opportunities. The great thing about Zaire-Emery is his versatility. He's not just a specialist in one position. He can adapt his game depending on what the team needs in any particular match. Against weaker opposition, he could play a more attacking role, getting into the box and trying to score goals. Against stronger teams, he could sit deeper and focus more on controlling the midfield and breaking up opposition attacks. This kind of flexibility would be invaluable for Amorim as he tries to implement his tactical system at United. What do the fans think? United fans are divided on this potential signing. Some are excited about the prospect of signing one of Europe's most promising young midfielders. They see it as exactly the kind of forward-thinking transfer the club should be making. Others are more cautious. They worry about spending such a large amount on a player who isn't guaranteed to succeed in the Premier League. They'd rather see the money spent on multiple players who could improve the squad depth. There's also the question of whether United should be prioritizing a midfielder when they have other pressing needs. Some fans feel the defense and attack need more urgent attention. But here's the thing about signing young, talented players. You sometimes have to take calculated risks. If United wait until Zaire-Emery proves himself completely, he'll probably cost even more money and might not be available at all. The bottom line. So, should Manchester United go all out to sign Zaire-Emery? The case for signing him is compelling. He's already shown he can perform at the highest level. He has the physical and technical attributes to succeed in the Premier League. He's young enough to improve significantly over the next few years. And he could be United's central midfielder for the next decade or more. The case against is mainly financial. £85 million is a lot of money. And there's always a risk that a young player might not develop as expected. United have other needs too, and spending so much on one player might prevent them from strengthening other areas. But here's what I think. If United really believes Zaire-Emery can become a world-class midfielder, they should seriously consider making the move. Players of his quality and age don't become available very often. This could be a once-in-a-generation opportunity to sign someone who could transform their midfield for years to come. The key is making sure they do their homework properly. They need to be absolutely certain about his character, his desire to succeed, and his ability to handle the pressure of playing for Manchester United. What happens next? As things stand, this transfer is still in the early stages. United have reportedly made initial contact to understand the situation, but there's a long way to go before any deal could be completed. PSG will want to keep their asking price high, especially if other clubs show interest. United will need to decide whether they're willing to meet that price or if they should look at other targets instead. The player himself will also have a say in what happens. If he's happy to stay at PSG and fight for his place, this transfer might not happen at all. But if he wants more regular playing time and sees United as a good opportunity, things could move quickly. One thing's for sure. This is a story worth following closely. Whether or not the deal happens, it shows that United are thinking seriously about their long-term midfield needs and are willing to invest in young talent. Zaire-Emery might just be the kind of signing that changes everything for Manchester United. Or he might be the one that got away. Either way, it's going to be fascinating to see how this story develops over the coming weeks and months. What do you think? Should United go all out for this young French star? Or should they look elsewhere? The debate is just getting started, and it promises to be one of the most interesting transfer stories of the summer.